when people ask me what my greatest fear is for the future of Wisconsin, to me, I think it's the perpetuation and the increase that we have in generational poverty, where people are trapped in a cycle of poverty, and dependence on government over and over again. There are a lot of factors that enter into that, certainly, but the only chance we have of breaking that cycle is education. I still believe that we are the land of opportunity and that we have greater chance of upward mobility in this country than in any country in the history of the world. A person that's born into poverty can become anything they want if they work hard and they have some talent. But if kids don't learn to read, it's shut off to them. The American dream is dead to those kids. So we have got to fix this problem. I'll give you a few more figures. You've heard a number of them already today, but in Wisconsin, 64% of fourth graders are not proficient at reading. 34% of them are not even at the basic level. We have the widest gap between black and white students, as has been said a few times, in both fourth and eighth grade reading. Of the 42 states that reported the races separately, Wisconsin was 42nd, dead last. And after falling, they fell 31 places since 1992. During that same time, white students fell from 6th to 27th. We know that if they can't read in the fourth grade, they are far less likely to graduate from high school. We know that 85% of juvenile offenders can't read, and 70% of prison inmates. More than 75% of welfare recipients can't read at the most basic level. We are definitely in a crisis situation in Wisconsin, and it was mind-boggling to hear the reading establishment come into our hearing, and their first thing was, well, it's not really as bad as you think it is. And the second thing was, we just need more money. We just need to double down on the methods that we've been using that have been failing all this time. Now, the author of the Journal Sentinel article this morning, along with the representative from the 23rd, the 20th, and especially the 19th, obviously did not watch the hearing on this bill. This is not about more testing, certainly not about standardized testing. Man, I don't know where that came from. What this is screenings that take about a minute. You can do it with multiple students at the same time, and we do them several times a year to assess where the students are. We have a lot of high-achieving school districts in this state. I'm fortunate to have several in my district that are already doing this. This is just good practice. This bill is just the first step in addressing this problem. Nobody is telling you that this is the solution to it all. But if you can't identify the problem, you can't fix it. And yes, we know that we have problems, but we're not identifying those students early enough. We heard so many parents come into our hearing and say, I thought my kid couldn't read very well, and I went to the school, and they said, oh, just go home and read to him some more. And then they get in the fourth grade, and they do get the standardized tests at that point, and they realize, my kid can't read, and then how do they catch up? It's very, very difficult at that point. Reading is not an intuitive process for most people. Having them practice over and over and read to them, if they don't know how to do it, doesn't make it better. It's like having a bad golf swing. If you don't fix the swing, practicing the same swing over and over doesn't make you a better golfer. This bill is a lot more about just dyslexic students, as has been said over there. The current methods that we are using fails an awful lot of students, not just those students with dyslexia. And there are a lot of states that have adopted these methods, notably Mississippi, who was always viewed as the worst in the country, right? They're doing very, very well now. And again, this was just the first step for them, and it's not the last step. And we will have to invest in teaching teachers how to do this. Frankly, our universities have been failing us in that regard. The point that the representative from the 52nd had made about special ed was not that we need to be putting all these kids into special ed. It was that if we teach them how to read, we save them from special ed, and we save them a lot, and we save a lot of money down the line. I will respond quickly to what was said about why did the original bill have a couple of specific companies in there. Those were given as examples of companies that we knew did a good job. They were never intended, and it was stated that way, to be the only vendors for these materials. So that was never the intent. So I would urge you, and I mean this for people from the other side, and I really applaud the representative from the 12th. She's been so eloquent in stating this. Please join us on this. There's not a more important thing that we're going to deal with than teaching our young people how to read. Thank you.